All right. So this is called a pre-ferment or poolish, P-O-O-L-I-S-H. It's to build flavor and add color to the bread. You really like it. It takes a little additional work, but it's really worth it. And in the long run, it's about the same amount of time that the other loaves of bread where we let it set for 15 or 17 hours by itself. And I do this a day ahead of time. It needs to ferment between 4 hours and 24 hours. 4 hours is not as good. 16 is the minimum number of hours, 24 maximum number of hours. So we're going to make this poolish. I'm just putting it in a jar. It takes 150 grams of all-purpose flour, 150 grams of room temperature water, and this room temperature is about 80 degrees. So if you're in Utah and it's 32 degrees in your house, warm it up. Make it about 80 degrees. It takes 1/8 of a teaspoon of yeast. I'm using this instant yeast, bread machine yeast. Takes 1/8 of a teaspoon of that. That's all it's going to take. So how we do this, I have a scale, I weigh it out. The flour is really about a cup, and the water looks like about a 1/2 cup. So when you make this, if you're not weighing it, use those measurements. I'm going to put in here 150 grams of room temperature water, and then I'm going to put in 1/8 of a teaspoon of yeast. And I can't measure, I can't weigh that. 1/8 of a teaspoon won't weigh out, but just figure a small amount, 30 or 40 granules, I guess. Maybe a little more than that, of yeast going there. And then we're adding 150 grams of all-purpose flour into that. And we're going to combine this all together with a spoon. And this is like you kind of do for a starter if you're making sourdough bread, but it's a lot easier. And you'll see that it gives you bread that has a darker crust and really more flavorful. And the longer you let this ferment or work, the better it is. I've done it at 16 hours and I've done it at about 17 and a half hours. And the bread comes out darker, and the inside is a little darker, and the crust is just really crispy and good. But again, it depends on how long you leave it in there. So this is my poolish, and I'm going to let this. It's 12:30, so tomorrow morning I'll get this out. You got all the flour, yeah. I'll get this out and show you what it looks like after 12 midnight. So this is going to be about 20 hours because I'm going to the hot rod show in the morning. And then I'll come back around 8:30 and then I'll do this at that time. And I'll film this again so you can see exactly what this looks like. Okay? I put some clear wrap over the top of this. And I'm just going to set it over here out of the way so they can do whatever it wants to do in that little jar until I pick it up tomorrow. I forgot to put that on the original recording. Okay, thanks. Hi, okay. I'm back from the car show. So here's the poolish we made yesterday. Ready to go. It'll feel a lot airier and lighter. It has a really nice aroma. Oh, it smells very good. It's going to add a lot of flavor and structure to the bread. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a pan. I'm going to put 280 grams of water in here. It's 98 degrees. You don't want to be above 110 because it will kill the yeast. So we're 98 degrees. We're going to put in this poolish from yesterday. Dump that in there. And we're going to put in 2 grams of yeast. And we're going to mix this together, get it all mixed in together. All right. Okay, to this we're adding 400 grams of all-purpose flour. You could do 350 grams of all-purpose flour and 50 grams of whole wheat flour, but I'm not doing that this time. So here's the flour in, and I'm adding 10 grams of salt. I use sea salt. So whatever kind of salt you want to use is the kind of salt you should use. Okay, take a sturdy spoon and mix this up. Get it all mixed so it absorbs all the flour. The water does. You'll have this all mixed up. This is something that Brooklyn could do, learn to do. Maybe Matthew could learn to do this too. So this is getting all together. It's going to be wet, kind of like the other dough. It'll be on the wet. I think they call that a shaggy dough. I believe that's what they call it. That was Rosie interjecting into the movie show. So that all gets mixed together in the pan, and this will be wet. Like I said, it'll be what's called a shaggy dough. Okay, once we've got it all mixed up like that, we're going to get in there, get your hand really wet. And then we're going to go in there and squeeze. The idea is to rotate the pan and squeeze the dough. This is kind of doing the same action that a mixer would do, and incorporating all the yeast and flour and everything together to give it that structure we want to give it. Keep your hand wet and just squeeze it. You want to do this for about a minute or so to get as much of this dough, flour and everything mixed together. Get everything working. Okay. Once we get it like this, we'll have a little dough ball like that. After about 60 to 90 seconds of squeeze, rotate, and combining, the dough will start looking, whoops, that was not too good. The dough will start looking like a little dough ball, and everything will be combined. Everything is combined. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to get some plastic wrap. Okay, we're going to cover this with a plastic wrap. This is a pan. Cover this with a plastic wrap. And let it rest for 30 minutes. And during the 30 minutes is when the gluten development and everything starts to happen. We're going to do this 30-minute rest period twice. All right, so I'm going to set this off to the side for 30 minutes. We'll put a 30-minute timer. And in 30 minutes, we're going to come back and do the next kneading that needs to be done. Okay? All right, it's been 30 minutes. Here's our dough. Take off the plastic. So what we're going to do now is the first folding of this dough. I'm getting my hands real wet. So all we're going to do here is pick this up and fold it over about 10 times. I'm going to do this. This is going to start layering this gluten. We do about 10 of these. You start to see the dough starts to take on a little more structure. And then I want to do about 6 of these slap and fold things. This is kind of what you'd do on the counter if you were kneading and stuff. We're just doing it in bulk. So we're starting to get a little more structure in the dough. It's sticking to my hand still. You see the gluten is developing in this. It's getting that stretchy. All right, so we got a little dough ball there. So we'll get the plastic wrap. Whoops, put some plastic wrap over it. And then do a piece of that as well. All right, so we're going to set this off to the side for 30 more minutes, and then we're going to come back and do a repeat. Okay? Okay, it's been another 30 minutes. So we'll bring our bread dough over here and pack it. And we do the same thing. We just about 10 times like this. We're going to cover this one more time with the saran wrap. It's plastic food wrap. When I grew up, it was called saran wrap. Anyway, cover this up. It's had 1 hour so far. We've gone through two processes, 30 minutes and 30 minutes. This time we're going to leave it for 1 hour, and then we're going to form it into the bread dough, get ready to do the baking. Okay, so we'll set this over here, and you can just sit over here. It can sit over there and just enjoy itself for 1 hour. We'll be back in 1 hour. Okay, it's been an hour, and our dough is, wow, it's big and airy. So now we're going to do the next step. So I'm going to dust this with a little flour on the top, and then pour it out on a well-floured surface. And put that right here. A little flour on here. And we're not going to really do anything special to this. I'm going to fold it over, fold it over, fold it over, pull up the corners, pull them up, pull them up, pull them up like this, so everything's kind of tucked in like this, and then roll it over. And then what I want to do is create surface tension on the top. So you do a 10 and 2 o'clock and just pull this to pull some surface tension in this dough. You'll start to see it and feel it along the top of the dough. And then I have a proofing basket here. It's got a towel in it, and it's got a flour and to keep the dough from sticking. And we're going to put this dough in this proofing basket, top side down. And then I'm going to cover this with a towel and let it sit. Okay, so I got it into my proofing basket. I'm going to set it over here on the counter for 30 to 50 minutes. And then at that time we're going to come back and the oven will be turned on. Probably, my oven takes about 30 minutes to heat up, so I'll turn it on now with my pan inside the oven. And then in 30 to 50 minutes we'll check and see how the bread is doing and get it in the oven. All right, see you then. Okay, so the next thing, we'll take the bread, it's all airy and light, and put it in the oven in the big bowl. The big green bowl. The oven's set at 500 degrees so that we're going to cook the first part of the oven right at 500. This is really hot. I'm going to put it on parchment paper because for me parchment paper just works better. Just put it right in there. There we go. Cut a few things across the top to let the bread expand. Rustic bread should do that. All right, let's put the lid on. We're going to put it in the oven. So it'll be in the oven for about 30 minutes, and then I'll take it out, take the lid off, and finish it off for another 10 to 15 minutes to get the color that we want. Okay, so let's see you back here in about 30 minutes. Okay, I made a mistake. It's 18 minutes. It goes in for 18 minutes. And then we're going to take the top off and let it bake for another 20 to 25 minutes, even 30, depending on how dark you want the loaf to be. So I'm going to pull it out now. We turn the temperature down to 485. We'll take that paper off. I don't know if you can see this or not. There it is. But we're going to cook it with the lid off for another 20-25 minutes to get some color. Okay? So I like to take the paper off so that it gets the full benefit of the pan and it gets a nice dark crispy crust all the way around. So it's been in there for 18 minutes. It's going to be another 20. I'll check it in 20 and we'll see if it's 20 or 25 I need to take it out. Okay? Okay, it's been 20 minutes. I'm going to check the bread. I think I'm going to take it out probably so you can see what the result of this. Well, okay, the crust is going to be real crunchy. Oh yeah. What do you think? What do you think? It's, wow, it looks nice. So I won't cut it. It needs a half an hour, 40 minutes to cool down. It's making cracky popping noises. So that's good too. All right. Look, I know this wasn't an organized video, but I just wanted you to see the recipe. You can write it down. Sorry about the timing mistake I made. The initial is 18 minutes, not longer time. But I hope you'll try this. It's a bread that you can make in one day. It took a little longer for me because I was puttering them out with the video, and sometimes, to be honest with you, the timing was a little bit off. But at least you can see what the bread looks like. Once I cut it, I'll take some pictures, photographs, and then I'll add those to this video and you can see what the final result is. Okay, good luck. Let me know how yours go. See you later. Can you hear the little popping noises? I like that.